Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds.
Guess what? I haven't tweeted out the lineup. Hey, Shane.
Coffee and Cream on Hale Varsity Radio with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning.
Ray McLeod goes in orbit motion behind Purdy and McCaffrey. They fake it to him left. They fake McCaffrey right. They throw to Kittle over the middle. 5, touchdown! San Francisco! He looks right, comes left, throws down the sideline. Wide open, George Kittle. 30, 20, cuts inside 10, cuts inside again. Touchdown! San Francisco!
Friday morning here on Coffee and Cream in the Morning. On Hale Varsity Radio, powered by Currency, alongside Damon Benning, Andrew Rogers, Brock Purdy, lighting the world on fire over the past few weeks. But is he the guy as they go into the playoffs now? They're set up with the NFC West locked up. But is he the guy? And, that's something I've been thinking about because, was it last year? Was it 2 years ago? We saw a little Mike White do something spectacular like this. Is Brock Purdy Mike White, or is Brock Purdy the next coming of, let's get adventurous, Tom Brady?
No, let's not. It's funny, too. Good morning, by the way.
Sorry about that.
Welcome into Coffee and Cream. 888-678.
638.
638-4876.
Right.
888-638.
It's like an ad on TV. You have to hear it 5 times.
You know what's interesting now, because all the talking heads, it's like, hey, can Brock Purdy be the guy? What are we going to do with Trey Lance? Could you believe they hung on to Jimmy Garoppolo? So we're start going through all this like flash in the pan,
all the scenarios
and stuff. But you know what we forgot about Brock Purdy? He used to be Brocktober.
He's a good quarterback.
He used to be the guy at Iowa State. When he was there in Ames, it was like, man, he's clutch. They may get off to a crappy start, but boy,
they'll end up 7-6.
You don't want Purdy getting busy late in the season. So he's got some gamer in him. I don't know about his overall talent, but I'm telling you, we got into this yesterday, Drew Down, when we were talking about quarterback and the symbiotic relationship with OCs and
product of good coaching.
Me spending all that time talking to Sage Rosenfels. I'm not as enamored by arm talent and athleticism at the quarterback spot as much as I was anymore, because I've seen too many guys that had all those things that it didn't really matter. Now, it helps to have those things, but it's all about the connectivity that you have with the mastermind behind the scenes. And I'm confident. It's why I said I felt like San Francisco was the best team in the NFC a couple weeks ago. I'm riding with Shanahan, right? Because I think he could make me a serviceable – no, he couldn't. He could probably make you a serviceable NFL quarterback to go along with what that team needs. They're so good defensively along that front. They're allowing Ward to now play because they get after the quarterback. The run game, a couple of years ago when they were making a run, I spent all this time on Twitter, like just going through some of their run schemes. 3-pullers, pen and pull, trap, base, power, like the intricacies in their run game. And I listened to who's the superstar left tackle that's built like a house for them, cornerstone offensive lineman, best in the game, Trent Williams. I listened to a podcast of his last year or maybe 2 years ago where he called it controlled chaos. It looks like nonsense, like when they're going through it, but how good the schemes are, fudge. And I know I got one of our listeners out there from a couple years ago when McVay and Shanahan were kind of on the same collision course, and Shanahan was kicking McVay's ass and head-to-head matchups. And I was like, who's a better coach? And he's a Niners guy. And he's like, what? Can't believe you've had the audacity to take McVay over Shanahan. And at that time, McVay hadn't won a Super Bowl yet. But in most, coaching, top whatevers, McVay is ranked ahead of Shanahan. Now, he does own him head-to-head, and I probably trust Shanahan with quarterbacks more, but McVay did rehab Stafford. I don't say rehab. He wasn't that bad. Stafford still turned the ball over, but they were good enough to win a Super Bowl.
They also built a super team there.
Well, but I don't discount that. If you looked at the Niners roster lately?
Yeah, well, yeah, defensively they're my favorite team to watch in football.
It's pretty good.
Right. No Debo, though, at least for the foreseeable future.
This last couple of weeks. But he's had Debo throughout a ton of his
Kittle
coaching.
hasn't been George Kittle, but he was also hurt most of the year.
Again, when you're just talking about assembling talent, the guys on the roster he was utilizing really, really good. Now, you could give me individual week-by-week examples, but that's the same with every team in the NFL. Sometimes your good guys are playing, sometimes your good guys are not. Sometimes your good guys are in their prime, sometimes they're not. But their roster is good. So I look at him with quarterbacks, because this isn't a Shanny McVay comparison. I trust him. I don't know about late in games, but I do trust the fact that his rosters, as good as I've talked about where they are top to bottom, they always get guys hurt. He always finds a way to function and be kind of relevant. And remember, they were treading water. You talk about a piecemeal roster 5-6 weeks ago, right before they went on the run. They're like, how in the world are they going to pull this off? And he pulls it off. And it's like you watched him last night, and I don't know. I just think I trust the combination. I said this to Arthur Arkish. By the way, I had a great picture on Twitter last night with his dad. It's fantastic. I bet Arthur doesn't look like you think he does.
Oh, I saw his photo when we first talked
crazy?
to him. Yeah.
So
when you hear him speak,
I try.
It's one of those moments where it doesn't correspond.
I try not to do that because I got hammered for that for.
It's all right
for a while. God, you don't talk anything like you look. I was like, well, what does that mean? Never mind. No. Good Friday.
I talk like I got hit upstairs.
Good Friday morning to you. But it's like I trust the combination of Shanahan and whoever his quarterback is more than I do what's going on in Philly, and certainly more than I do in Dallas. Now, Philly can change my mind because Sirianni should be getting out of that whole whipping boy phase. Sirianni should start to get credit now as a pretty good coach as opposed to the quirky guy that hammers analytics and doesn't play by the rules and is so, you know what I mean? He appears to be a pretty good coach, and that roster is fantastic. And I love their general manager. And I've kind of been hot on Philadelphia the last couple of years. They're just now starting to put it together. But, man, when you watch them coach, they're just good, and they're physical. So over time, those teams, I typically give the advantage.
Those are playoff teams.
You know what I mean?
Those are playoff teams.
Yeah.
Well, you talk a lot about the 49ers, too, and for one, Kyle Shanahan's play calling is unreal. It's somewhat unmatched when you look at it, but he also takes a lot of things from years past and executes them better today.
Yeah.
You look at the double pump fake play that you were talking about on Twitter.
The double screen.
And, that's something that you saw in Bill Walsh's offense back in the 80s. And then you saw Andy Reid use it recently, too. And you saw Shanahan use that play in years past, too.
Reid is really good with those. So, and here's the thing. So, it's not just if you don't, if you just kind of glob onto the obvious, you'll say play design. A lot of guys can design plays.
Comes down to execution.
That's the thing.
He also had a lot of time, too. The line gives Brock Purdy a lot of time.
But listen, though, you're faking the screen game. So your offensive linemen have to be super disciplined. They have to know what they're doing. You can't get any ineligible men downfield. Then you're getting vertical in the passing game. Like, that's pretty good. That's
to connect on all cylinders.
Yeah, that's some Andy. So it's a lot of it is the teaching too. It's not just. I'm telling you, there are a lot of smart guys that can get on a dry erase board. Ton. I see. Like, they're just. It's the execution of what they're doing. And again, I go back to that podcast that I listened to with Trent Williams, and he called it controlled chaos. He called Shanny he's like, he's got this big deep. I mean, he's not a low guy. He's a witch man. So,
he fits his voice.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yes. He fits his voice, man. So, I mean, good on him. It's a team I wouldn't want to play.
So the 49ers, is that your team, your way too early prediction to be your NFC?
I think the collision course.
representation?
I just think the collision course. They're going to have to play in some cold weather because they're probably going to have to go to Philadelphia in the NFC Championship. So I like right now the Phillies and the Phillies, World Series champs. God, what a year it could be for
Philadelphia?
Yeah, seriously.
Well, World Series runner-ups.
Yeah, that. So it's like, I don't know. I like San Francisco and Philadelphia in the NFC Championship. Now, who could play spoiler? Well, the Dallas Cowboys. But if you're looking for a true spoiler, talk to me in a week and a half. Because I'll tell you who nobody wants to play against defensively. And that's the team in Washington. So now they got to get
my
there.
sleeper team.
They got to get there. But defensively,
Healthy. Once you get healthy, anything can happen.
So, like,
anything.
They're like because Dallas isn't going to be a sleeper or a dark horse. Some people think they're the best team in their division. So that's not like, but the Commanders are the team that I think would be a true sleeper because they can run the ball. Heineke's a gamer. I don't know if you can win with him. Sure, maybe you can. I think
how much different is Heineke and Brock Purdy?
Yeah, well, Heineke's probably a more advanced Purdy. Purdy's not there yet. Obviously, he hasn't had the time. Heineke's played in some big moments where he's like captured the nation with his play, right?
Yep.
So Heineke is like emotionally a little ahead. We'll get into the physical attributes later, but emotionally he's a little ahead.
And you look at the Eagles, Cowboys there in the NFC East, and I've made the case before for the Cowboys defensively, but I've always been riding the Eagles pretty much all season long. I mean, they have the best secondary in the National Football League. Offensively, they are so well put together. You talk about Sirianni and just his ability to just step in year one and just make a team that was good better, right? Taking that step up, that just goes to show that the Eagles know what they're doing when they're hiring somebody. And plus, the work that they did in the draft to get A.J. Brown as well, you just collectively made your group the best team in football, and that's why they're 12-1.
Football.
Offensively, defensively, I still think they have the edge over the Cowboys and, frankly, the edge over the NFC, despite the 49ers probably edging them out defensively. But, I could take it either way. The Eagles can be an overly successful team, especially if they're facing off against Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Let's move toward Creighton basketball tonight.
Wow. Segue? None.
Nice little segue from one side of the tracks to the other.
I got what you did. You were talking Dallas Cowboys, right? Mm-hmm. Mike McCarthy used to be in Green Bay. Green Bay is in Wisconsin. Marquette is in Wisconsin. Creighton plays Marquette. Creighton segue.
Thank goodness you got there because I would not
fudge.
have. That's why I have you paired up next to me.
Oh.
Hey, no, but for real, Creighton men's basketball takes on the hardwood again tonight. They get a matchup, their first Big East matchup of the year against Marquette. And something I was reading Joel Lorenzi's article yesterday, and a quote in there from Sharif Mitchell said that team is searching for more heart right now, and I could not agree more.
Well, we beat Joel to the punch because we scooped him. Well, it's just fortunate that I got a chance
Yeah,
to sit with
you
Sharif.
sat with him.
Because that's what we were talking
Yeah.
about yesterday. That's basically.
You're right. I should give you credit first.
No.
I re-referenced it.
Sharif, who gets to sit down with Joel. I'm just Uncle DB. We're just shooting the breeze. I'm not really I'm not coming out with an article looking for information. I was just curious on a multitude of things because there's so many good players. And I always liken it back to what had to happen in our locker room some years ago where guys have to relent. Some guys have to step up. Some guys have to embrace a different kind of role because not everybody can lead. This is underappreciated. You ready for this hot take?
Everybody.
Great teams have great leaders, but they also have great followers. You can't always be a leader. Sometimes you have to be a follower on a championship caliber team. So sorting that out is going to take some time, but
couldn't agree more with that take.
I'm glad because I think it's we don't talk about it enough.
Well, if you want to be the
not
guy,
everybody can be the guy.
Yeah, well, I was going to say when you say leader, you're not just saying hey, come on guys. No, you're talking about I want to be the guy on the floor. But you can't have 3 the guys on the floor.
Yeah.
You have to have one primary guy. Mm-hmm. You have to have Mr. Secondary, and then you have to have the rest of the crew that knows the game plan, but also can step up in big ways. That's it. Know your role. It's a role thing. And this team has learned a lot about themselves right now over the course of their 5-game losing streak. I mean, for one, they've realized that they are not untouchable, like many thought early on this season. Like I have said before early on this season. And 2, they've got to dig deeper and find the will to win. And that's where I think the line is set. The bar is set for tonight. You can't go into a matchup ever against Shaka Smart and expect to not be a bully on the floor and win this matchup physically. Because Shaka's teams are always built to the extreme when it comes to physical size.
Yeah, they play hard. They play hard.
Fire and emotion. That's what I need to see out of this group. We talk sometimes about Tominaga and his ability to, get hyped up after a 3. I don't see a lot of that out of Creighton ever. I want to see some emotion in this game. I want to see that will, that desire to win. And if it's there, then you can speak it into existence.
Yeah, it's interesting, too, because going into Marquette tonight, were you surprised to see that they're such a dog?
I didn't even see the line.
Marquette is favored.
By how much?
4.5? Doesn't that seem crazy?
Vegas obviously doesn't think Kalkbrenner's playing.
Well, I don't think he is either. But that's too many.
4 points.
Yeah.
This team can really run it, and they do a really good job of
they're
perimeter
capable.
Ball screens.
Don't be careful now. Don't kick the sleeping dog. They've had a chance to get back in their own bed, do a little soul searching, have some continuity with their coaches and that staff. Well, I saw 4.5. I was like, no way. But apparently the luster, the shine. They had the 5th best odds to cut down the Nets in Lincoln or in college basketball at plus 360, and they're going to Milwaukee catching points 2 months later.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm not making a case that Creighton can't compete in this game. They've played in 2 very close games lately. They just haven't found a way to get over the hump.
They'll compete. They're not going to get blown out.
But that's what I'm saying. When you're talking about the line here, 4 points is a lot to look at.
Seems like a lot.
I mean, you're asking for two possessions here.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like.
Hey, you look at the keys to the game, though, and for one, it's rediscovering that will. It's winning the physical battle. It's anticipating and working through ball screens because that's what Marquette likes to do. They like to set screens up high and try to work with the roll game a little bit. And then lastly, I mean, trust in your abilities. Scoring is obvious, and you can do it. Creighton, we've seen you do it this season. And it's not finding the best look, it's finding the right look. Mm-hmm. You don't have to settle for, if it's not a wide open three, I'm not taking it. But if it's the best look in your shot clock, I don't care if it's 3 seconds in. I don't care if it's 20 seconds in. Take the shot and trust in your abilities.
Take the shot. Take the shot. Take the shot.
It's like every, basketball movie of all time. 3, 2, and people screaming, take the shot.
You better find a way to match
shot.
Cam Jones' energy because he's going to be a handful for Marquette.
Hey, on line one, Michigan Lance here to talk Jays basketball.
Shane, we're taking calls in the first segment. What is going on?
Why not?
Michigan Lance, good morning.
Ooh.
It's Friday.
What's up, buddy?
Me likey.
Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing?
Good. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man, you guys talk about Brock Purdy first. Is it like the San Francisco 49ers are, they're the modern-day Denver Broncos with quarterbacks. So you had Terrell Davis.
Oh, you're talking about the run scheme.
Who was it? Mike Anderson was the other running back, right, DB?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, when they ran the zone offensive running game, like, Terrell Davis comes in with 2,000 yards. He gets hurt one year, and Mike Anderson gets 1,000 or 1,200. Like, all they're doing is cycling these quarterbacks that are doing well, man. It's more the system than I think the actual quarterback play elevating. You know what I'm saying?
Michigan Lance, do you know who those Denver Bronco teams were coached by?
Right, yeah, his dad. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So you got Mike Shanahan with the running back, and now you got his son Kyle with the quarterback. Yeah. It's just rotating. It doesn't matter who's the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. That team is going to do well anyway. They're built well, and their system is really good. So I'm not sitting here, and we're in today's world, we got to elevate somebody right away. Oh, Brock Purdy, look at him. He's da-da-da. Like, just said that about Garoppolo a couple weeks ago. And then in the summer, and in the spring, Garoppolo was a bomb. So, hey, man, you can put DB back there. He'll do some zone, bring the RPO.
I don't know. He said he would put me back there, and I don't know if I could throw a spiral.
I just don't know, Michigan Lance, how many hits I could take.
Well, yeah, I understand that.
So, I'm better in the gym with like 12-ounce gloves now than I am with a helmet and shoulder pads.
Scout Team QB?
Yeah. I tried a couple of weeks playing scout team quarterback. I was the scout team quarterback when we played North Platte, and we ended up losing that game in North Platte. So that just lets you know where I'm at.
Oh, yeah, you're done. It's time for you to hang them up.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you got Creighton.
Are you surprised they're a dog?
No, because here's the thing with where Creighton's at right now in their program. Like, all those years Creighton were good, like, they were the hunters, right? There was no expectation. So they would beat a lot of the bigger schools when they were in the Valley, and then when they got into the Big East, you had McDermott, you had good teams and good players, but they still weren't like a national program. Well, you know what I mean? Like, to the point of respectability of, hey, look out for Creighton. Mm-hmm. Well, now they got the expectations of, hey, Creighton's been to the Sweet 16. Hey, they're getting these good players. Hey, they got expectations now. So teams are coming in like, hey, they're the hunted. Like, they're not lacking on them anymore, as the kids say. They're not like, hey, yeah, whatever, it's Creighton. No, they're coming in to beat Creighton. So Creighton has to change their mindset with expectations of, hey, we're set to a higher standard, so we got to come and play every night and give our best shot because everybody else has given us their best shot.
Hey, let me ask you something real quick before we get you out of here. Level of surprise if Nebraska reels in Jalen Lloyd after all, Georgia, Illinois, Florida, Texas Tech, and kind of Nebraska being out of the mix, that Coach Rule and company could come in the last 2 weeks and sway him. Would you know the family? Would you be shocked?
Not really. He's tough to. It's kind of tough because he has so many track offers.
Yeah.
He has more track than football, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I know he likes football, and it's a tough thing. Are you going to go be an Olympian, or are you going to be a Division I football player? Man, that's a tough decision to make. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes play football for Nebraska. Not really, but to me personally, DB, I think you go the Olympic route. I think you go do that, and then if that doesn't work out, then you come back like some of the baseball guys have done in the past. There's been track guys who've done that too.
Yeah.
Hey, they went to go do track and then came back to do football. I think that's what he should do.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Michigan Lance.
Hey, thanks, folks. Have a
Call
good
in
weekend.
anytime again. And, hey, we'll talk more about this with Mike Schaefer next.
Yeah.
Where do you think Tristan's going? Nebraska. He's going to announce at 10:30. We can get him next week if we want him.
I don't know if you want him or not, though.
Oh, I love Tristan.
Yeah, he's great.
Well, kickers are my favorite. You know that. Come on. Bring him in.
He's a great kid.
Yeah, Shane, let's get Tristan Albano on Monday.
As long as he says yes. She's so silly. Freaking cracked egg. Get off of Snapchat. Freaking A. It's a kid's site. This is
We're getting the West Side kicker.
You can't see, but my little girl is in the backyard losing her
Oh.
mind.
Hey, you know, that's perfect because our poll question today is this, because I saw this on the way into work and I could not freaking believe it.
And of course, my wife is such a baby. She ain't going out there. She's filming
Yeah,
through
from
the window.
from the window, yeah.
Well, wait till. Here's this for next week.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes.
Hey, our poll question today is using the FranCon alert.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hale Varsity Radio.
We are back. Coffee and Cream in the Morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. Damon Benning, Andrew Rogers. I'm looking at the comments here, DB. Our mics were still on during the break.
I know. I tried to tell Shane. But it's a good thing I don't say anything crazy. Listen, I love Shane. He's been with me for double-digit years. But the only way that I will ever have Shane leave permanently is to leave a hot mic on. I can't mince words. I won't say it any other way. Like, don't do that. That's it.
Hey, I got to tell you, though, I've done it before too, Shane. I've done it before.
Yep.
Everybody gets one. Right?
Figure it out.
I've done it before. I get it.
He knows, too. Like,
well, and I'm kind of on Shane's side.
Why?
I know it's bad because, like, hot mics, right? But it is, like, the worst feeling ever when you do that.
Shane, do you feel bad?
No, do you think guys?
Oh, well, now I'm on your side. So this is over. I tried to side with Shane.
I mean, do you think guys like me just grow on trees?
Ooh.
I love the flex.
Yeah, come back.
All right, little pocket Hercules. That's why I like talking to nice guys like this, our next guest.
Mike Schaefer on the phone, Nebraska football and recruiting for 24/7 Sports. Mike, you're on with us. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Good.
Mike J., how are you this morning? Is this too early or are you okay?
I'm good, Damon. I'm so excited to talk to you again on Fridays. I mean, it's been months. This is our first conversation for public consumption.
It is right. There's the key because I talked to him about a lot of other things. Shafe, you know what's funny? I feel a lot like Shane. I feel like we and Sauter because you two are the only two that I think I can remember that have been with me from the jump since I started full time. I think.
Yeah, you inherited me, and then you kept me. It was nice. Sometimes like you inherit something, you don't really want it, and you kind of like discard it, or you do the thing where you're like, you're going to keep it for a month or two and decide on it, but then you're going to get rid of it anyways.
Hey.
I appreciate it.
Hey, so you know what's funny? I got a new Blackstone with a bigger, what do you call the surface area?
Yeah.
Shafe, I've had it for, I'm afraid to tell you this, but keep in mind it was football season. I didn't have time, and I can't put it on my back deck until I get rid of something. I don't know who made those rules. Obviously not me. I have to get rid of something to get it out there, but it's still in the box.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
Look, I can't. Like, I can believe it. It's been a really busy fall. Like, and it's continuing on to being a fairly busy winter right now too, but there's just a lot going on. I can believe it.
It is.
You took a random job in the middle of the like this isn't. It hasn't been a normal last few months for you. So I think you're getting a pass.
You should see how complicated those renegotiations are going to be, man. I'm like kicking myself. But hey, so I was asking Michigan Lance, your partner in crime, because you love to argue with him on social media. And you've followed Lloyd. It's been interesting, right? How good is he on the football field? Is he just a track guy? Then all of a sudden he's slowly emerging, and it's like, oh, wow, this guy's pretty good. He has his top four set for 3 weeks ago. He's getting ready to make an announcement at the Boys and Girls Club. He doesn't feel well. He gets an offer in the same 24-hour span. He goes from a top 4 to a top 5 now with Nebraska. They got Alvano on the hook, who I believe will announce this morning around 10:30. But I think he's only going to do it on social media, so that one's going to be interesting. And believe me, I'm waiting with bated breath there too. Are you surprised locally how quick these guys have gotten busy?
No. Well, I mean, I'm not, because they've shown their work, right? Like, think about it this way. The very first in-home visit from Matt Rule in the contact period went to Malachi Coleman. And then you saw Gunnar Katula the same night. So, right away starting with in-state kids. And then last night with Mason Goldman, I mean, he's finishing up with in-state kids. Like the big thing, and we've talked about this across numerous different platforms, if you're going to talk about it, be about it. And so far, they said that they were going to put the effort in the state, and we've seen that. I mean, they've had coaches out, not every day, but I would say of the majority of the contact period, I would say they've had coaches in high schools in Nebraska a fair amount of time, and so they've shown that this matters to them. And then you have two guys in Jalen and Tristan, and especially when you're talking about a transition class where they're a little late in terms of being able to build those relationships that you'd normally want at this point. Those are guys that are worth, taking a big swing at right away. And Lloyd got the offer, within 48 hours of Matt Rule being named Nebraska's head coach, probably even less than 48 hours.
Yeah.
So they went to work right away, and they've shown that, the state is going to be an emphasis. And I've talked to enough high school coaches, in Lincoln and Omaha, and I haven't talked to as many outside of those areas, but they're certainly happy with how this transition has gone. And I think keeping them happy is a good thing for Nebraska football moving forward.
Shafe, he was so aggressive. He actually contemplated showing up at Gretna's football banquet on Sunday to make another run at Flores after he got his dad on the phone, who, for all intents and purposes, wasn't really interested. They're kind of settled in. He's a super loyal guy. But for me, that just hey, where's that banquet again, Coach? And I was like, well, let me ask. I seriously but I think at the end of the day, he didn't want to crash the party and make it about him. But I say all that to say, they're competitive, man. He used the term heartbroken about how the Flores deal has transpired. They are uber competitive when it comes to getting guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, they didn't come here to lose, and it shouldn't be a surprise that he's built a staff of guys who want to go out and win in recruiting battles, and even though they're getting here late, they still feel like they should have the opportunity to do that. They're picking their spots as best they can, and I think that's sort of the important thing, is you have to know, when to cut it loose and when to really sort of be able to push. And they've, so far, it feels like they've had a pretty good read on that. And with Zane especially, I think the big thing is just making sure that family knows the door is completely open. And if things had gone differently, they would have loved to have him in the class, but they understand why he's not, and they want him to know, hey, if you ever need to go anywhere, we're right here.
Hey, we're talking to Mike Schaefer, Mike J. Shafer on Twitter, Nebraska Football and Recruiting for 24/7 Sports. Mike, Nebraska has guys visiting this weekend, one being Malik Hornsby from Arkansas. He's taking an official visit, but there's plenty of others there too. What have you seen on that front with the visitors coming to Lincoln this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking double digits again. Last week, I think they had around 14 to 15, 16, somewhere in that range. This week, it'll be a little bit less. And it breaks out into three pretty distinct categories. You got your Nebraska commits already, and a couple guys that are going to be making their first ever Nebraska visits. Bryce Turner, the first commit of the Matt Rule era. He'll be up here making his official visit. You have Sincere Seifuela. Yeah, I think that's how it's pronounced, or at least it's within the 20% threshold that I'm going to be best
exactly.
at.
Shafe is great.
He's making his visit as well, and then you got Barry Jackson, Riley Van Poppel. They're going to be stopping in Dwight Boodle, who's going to be coming with a couple guys from Florida, and Corey Collier and Chief Borders. Chief Borders, Corey Collier, they're transfer portal guys. Malik Hornsby, a transfer portal guy. And then, Mason Goldman in state. You have
great kid.
You have Prince Uman Mielen. I mean, so you just got a really good visit.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him, Shano?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, hi, Mike J. Welcome back.
Was that it?
Yeah. No. Hey, so in our last 60 seconds here, how important is it, in your opinion, or who are the guys to re-recruit on this roster to balance out the impact that they've had every place else trying to recruit?
Well, I think you want to try to keep A.J. Allen. I mean, that's someone who comes to mind right away, multiple years of eligibility. And then, of course, you've got some other guys across this roster. I mean, I look at a Malcolm Hartdog. He played for you last year. That's someone that he doesn't necessarily fit their size and measurables, but that's a guy who performed at a pretty high level. And so, I think you're putting an emphasis on some of the younger guys that have some more years ahead of them. But there's certainly some pieces on this roster that they're going to want to keep together. And I've been a little surprised by how few people have entered the portal so far.
Yeah.
Mike Schaefer, we appreciate your time this morning. Thanks so much. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Mike J.
All right, guys.
Coming up
Appreciate it.
next,
Have a good one.
You too. Coming up next, Coach's Corner with the next high school coach in the Class A rankings. That's Mike Etzelmiller from Millard North.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you, Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. Damon Benning, Andrew Rogers, and on the line right now, Mike Etzelmiller, Millard North boys basketball head coach. He's a part of our Coach's Corner and the third-ranked team in Class A. Mike Etzelmiller, thanks for joining the show. How are you today?
Doing good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Coach, this is awkward because it's weird. I'm like, I love this guy. I'm always trying to talk to him. Then it's like, I'd rather talk to him when it's not about the show, just because I've admired your work from afar. And now the first time I get to talk to you this year, even though I'm in the same gym as you a lot, is on the show. So forgive us, as this is our first hello of the season, man. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. Feeling very good. Obviously, we're off to a good start, but just the group of kids that we've got right now, they love being in the gym. We were just talking about it last night, how much they enjoy watching film, and I think what we've got going here at Millard North is pretty special. I know Coach Cannon's got to be extremely proud of it, and we just got to keep it going now.
It's so cool just from watching you guys for so long. Covered Coach Cannon. I actually, way back when, did some milestone games for him when he was at another school in another life. And I watch you all the time. And one of the things that I love about you is the kids, your players, they gravitate towards you. And as an assistant, as you've been, sometimes it's hard when you're with a legend and he's got this great personality. But the transition has been seamless, and everybody wanted you to have this job. But you're so humble. It's like, but you had to be kind of blown away that it's like, hey, we think the world of you. This is your baby. Take it and run.
Yeah. We've got some amazing support here with Dr. Behringer, Keith Malley, and then before that was Mr. Zimmerman and Mr. Begley. But they just the support that we have. When Coach Cannon was here last year, he was very, very grateful and giving me a lot of responsibilities, and I think that kind of helped with the transition. I think a lot of the players also kind of felt that it was a good fit. So just extremely grateful and happy and blessed to be here. And when I had the job interview, I told them that this is a dream job and a place to probably retire. So,
Mike, not only did you fill big shoes, but other guys on this team had to fill big shoes too. Only 2 returners from last year's state championship team. Who stepped up in a big way? Who have you noticed so early on this season to help fill that void and keep this team relevant at being the best in the class?
Yeah, I think it starts with those 2, Neil and Eli. Neil Mosser and Eli Gath have really stepped up in a leadership aspect. Along with them, we've got some good seniors, Sky and Pax and Jacob and Luke. They all, kind of as a group, they maybe lead a little bit more by example. But, those 2, it starts with those 2. We've got, Derek Rowans is also coming along very well as a sophomore. A little quiet. But,
very much so.
But yeah, when he has a breakout game, he's very dominant for us. He's been very good.
Coach, it's interesting, obviously, spending a lot of time with Eli and Neil as the kids play together in the summer.
Yeah.
And I've watched them forever, right, since elementary through middle school. How easy has it been to go from filling in for the guy to being the guy? Because I think we underestimate that transition emotionally.
Yeah, it definitely, because we had a very senior-led group last year. I think we graduated 8 seniors, and for those 2 to step up, we've had some conversations probably in the preseason a lot where, we don't have any choice really. You two guys have really got to come on. Even the seniors that we do have, only 2 of them have been with us for more than 2 years. We had a couple kids that. And Paxton and Jacob and Sky both kind of transferred in as So they really haven't been around the program as long. So, just having those few juniors and even Cam Money and Grant Urbanic have really, come on and kind of talked a lot about how this program is and how competitive it is, even as a freshman all the way up.
Talking about preseason conversations, when you come off of a state championship, setting goals for the following season are normally pretty easy, right? But not in this case when you turn over as much as your team did. When you or even the two that you were just referring to, the now veteran leadership, were going about setting goals for this season, was it as simple as play for the hardware, or did you have to be more strategic and set smaller goals that focused more on the journey?
Yeah. Well, and that's where we started. We started with, we say a lot, process over outcome, trust in the process, compete every day. But, when we did start talking about goals, there was no hesitation. Those guys, it's kind of been maybe ingrained in what we expect here. And there's no way that I want to lower expectations. So, they said it from day one that they want to be at state and in a state championship type of game. So there's no way that I was going to lower those expectations at all. So they set them, and we'll revisit them after the Metro tournament and kind of talk again about where we're heading and what we want to do.
Coach, I again, as I watch you from afar, the excellence of execution. You always kind of demand things be a certain way, and you carry yourself that way. So when I watch kind of the influx of talent, and we're in the world of kids transferring and coming from different schools and different areas, yet there's a way that you do things, that you like things to be done, that have happened before you. How careful do you use that strainer or that colander or whatever it is that you sift through when you understand if kids are going to be a good fit for what you want to do?
Yeah, that is tough. I think it probably starts with kind of building that relationship and building that trust. Like I said, we've got some kids that have transferred in, and being honest when they come in, going to have to earn everything, and those guys have done a great job of competing every day. And then you've got the kids that have been in your program since a freshman and maybe even played reserve and now fighting for spots on a varsity team. The competitive culture here has been great, and I think that's kind of given us, a lead towards success.
You're familiarizing yourself with the Lincoln schools pretty well so far this season already, taking down 2 in the top 10, and now you have North Star on the horizon.
A lot of length. This would be a good one.
What is your expectation for this matchup? How is your group preparing for this North Star team?
Yeah, I don't know what's in the water in Lincoln, but I feel like every team has at least 2 6'8" kids.
Yep.
And they can shoot it. It's not like they just play under the post. We've watched a lot of film on a couple other Lincoln schools too. Lincoln East is very talented. Lincoln High has obviously some big bodies, and they got a nice win over Lincoln East last night. We're hoping Lincoln kind of beats up on Lincoln this year, because any game you could see a lot of those teams winning. So with North Star, we watched them last night play Burke, and they looked really good there too. Obviously, the 2 big guys stand out, but even their guard play was very good last night. So we talk a lot about keeping guys out of the paint, and that'll be a goal is make those guys take some tougher shots instead of being 2 to 3 feet from the rim. Push them out to 5 to 8 feet and see if we can battle on the boards.
Coach, with Derek and Eli and Neil, it can be about kind of flash and dash, but man, 3 quarters you held Millard West to single digits in terms of points scored. You held Bryan to 51. You pitched a shutout in overtime defensively. Is there this evolution in terms of who Millard North basketball is, or is it just part of who you want to be and you're reaping the benefits of it?
Yeah, I think from day one, I think we said, defense is going to have to be our core. We really stressed it at the beginning of the year, saying, this is who we want to be. It always gives us a chance to be in the game. Offensively, we'll give you some more freedom, but defensively, we're going to ask certain expectations and hold them tight.
Coach, one last thing. Oh, go ahead.
No, you got it.
No, just one last thing. You mentioned
we're fighting over you, Coach.
You mentioned Derek at the start. You mentioned Derek at the start of the show and how quiet of a player that he is, but he can be dominant when he wants to be. Yeah. When you get into matchups like this one against North Star, where you're dealing with a lot of length, a lot of size, how important is it for him to keep stepping up his game?
Yeah, these are big games for him early in the year. Even the game against Lincoln Southwest, where he kind of had I think it was a put-back dunk, and I said the biggest part of it was when you dunked it, there was no showboating on the way back. There was no tapping the head, anything like that. It was just, he showed some emotion, which is great, but I was very proud of him of how he handled himself there. But, yeah, big games here against a big team. He's got a great skill set of where he can step away from the rim and do more. He can shoot it from outside. He's got a pretty good handle on things, too, where he can get to the rim. So very excited about his future.
Coach, I think the world of you, that school, the administration, all in sync. And in spite of you bringing on Coach Mosser, I know you needed some yin to the yin to the yang.
Right, that's right.
Hey, give him my best. He's fantastic. Dr. Behringer as well, man. Coach, always a blessing when you get to join us.
Will do. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate having me.
Thanks, Coach. Coming up next, let's talk bowl games. It's the season of giving, so we'll give you our picks. I have sheets in front of us, and then we'll continue some fun with DB because it's dog-eat-dog against DB on Friday. That's next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream on Hail Varsity Radio with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning.
Hey, bowl games start as early as 11:30 this morning, and the bowl schedule is massive, as we all know. Lots of bowl games ahead, and I wanted to do something with the guys here. I printed off bowl schedules. I actually left my place early this morning, went to headquarters, as you like to call it, DB.
Bro, you only live 60 seconds away.
Yeah, well, I had to go the other direction and then come back, so I gave myself an extra 5 minutes.
Can I say this real quick?
Yeah.
Because I know you're potentially moving and on the hop, make sure you get a good feel for snow removal, how things dry, like ease in getting in and out of your neighborhood. It's an underappreciated thing.
An underappreciated skill.
Where does the sun set?
Right.
How what? No, look.
Yeah.
You laugh.
You know, no, I don't, because the good news is my car has.
I'm glad you left 60 seconds early.
A couple of settings, right?
It
where
took
I
me
can
60
do
seconds
deep snow
to stop my car at the stop sign at the end of my block. No.
So it's safe to say that they don't come in at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning.
As you know, I'm a fantastic driver.
Right. Do you pump the brakes? Are you a pumper?
No, but I'm not happy with my vehicle and the make. Like, I think they were just so happy to crank these vehicles out. Mm-hmm. There are some things that to only have 9,000 miles on my vehicle that I'm not in love with.
Well, for one, auto start when it's cold outside.
Well, I've had 3 in a row. I've had 3 of the same vehicle in a row.
Wow. So you're committed. Are you bouncing away? Like, I know.
I don't know.
You drive a Volkswagen.
I'm looking at all these signs up around our studio. It sounds like I may need to make a change.
Yeah, you may need to. Hey, but when we go through this bowl schedule, I want to make this even more enticing for our listeners.
Well, why won't you tell me who's playing?
In the first bowl game?
Well, I know you'll know that, but...
Oh, the actual players? Yeah. I can't tell you that. Well, I don't know.
You can do anything.
You think I can just read people's minds?
You could take snaps for the Niners.
I could. Well, that's what you think.
You could spar with Bud Crawford. We talked about your frame.
You know what? You give me way too much credit.
Oh, well, then I won't give you any.
You make me out
to be. You have threaded eyebrows.
I do have threaded. That is true. That
you
is
got amazingly long eyelashes.
That is also true. You questioning my masculinity now?
No, you're like, hey, keep it going, man. I'm feeling good about me.
Yeah,
that's it. You're
and
done.
Then you're going to just punch me and
no, you're done.
You're
done. You're done. That's it. That's all the good stuff.
That's all I get.
That's all I got on a Friday.
Hey, well, we need to come up with some type of punishment for the loser. Something has to be on the line.
Okay. How about if I buy you breakfast?
Breakfast. Okay. I'll take breakfast.
Yeah. It's a nominal fee. You're probably about a $13 guy.
Yeah. It was either that or I was going to, like, Goodwill grab bag you.
Oh, but, hey, Goodwill is fire.
Yeah, but, like, when it would be like we get to dress you for a day, and you have to wear that.
Oh.
Like, you go we go to Goodwill,
so listen,
get you stuff, and then you put it on.
I'm that guy. Full disclosure, as long as it fits, I'll wear it.
Let's do that. Because I think that'd be more fun. Like, what if there was a T-shirt that said, like, you know,
I hate DB.
Well, that would be a great T-shirt. Can you imagine you wearing I hate DB?
Yeah.
Can I wear that?
No, because
ouch.
I'm just wondering. I mean, I'm probably the one that's probably going to lose, ain't I?
Well,
and it'd be perfect for me.
No,
I hope I do lose.
We'll get you a shirt that says I hate short people.
This dude is so funny. He said, guys like me don't grow on trees. Guys like you don't grow at all. Hey. Ice.
Get me that shirt. I hate DB.
Full disclosure, I was with, where did I tell you I was going yesterday after we recorded?
Paisans.
Yep, I went right to Paisans. I had to pick up a bunch of meat. He's holding it in the freezer. I have to get it out because I have some more meat coming. And I dropped it off to this, anyway. So we're in there, and he has the greatest T-shirt game of anybody that I know, not named Kendall Clayton, KLC, who was a DJ at a studio in my former life, had the greatest T-shirts ever. They were always I would
like
just,
a 365-day carousel.
like he was fantastic.
Didn't wear the same thing twice.
But Verzal is probably 1A. Okay, so he sends me this link, and they're not a sponsor, so we won't. We're not going to pimp them, right?
Right.
So he sent me the link at like 10:30 the night before, and I was like, he's like, did you do it? Did you do it? The T-shirts were only X amount of dollars, $14 or something like that, and I was like, nah, it's late.
You're like, I'm gonna do it today.
Trying to finish up a show, and I was like, why don't you just do it for me? Like, just tell, like, can I just tell you what to do, and we'll use your thing because I don't know where to search. And so he looked at the text exchange, and he's like, I can't, like, can you do anything on your own? And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, just do it. So he's working. He's telling everybody what to do. They got like 200 pies going out. It's like $10.50, right? And they got all these pies made. So I get on this website, and let's just say OCD kicked in, and I maybe purchased a T-shirt or
For $30?
no, it was just they were like $12.
But I thought
Some
I thought
were
the
14.
deal the deal was cash by the time you.
So,
Oh.
so
Okay. All right. Sorry, I jumped the gun.
So X amount of things were ordered, and we got ready to check out, and he goes, well, I'm maxed out. I got some stuff on order. This one's on you.
Hey, sorry, man. I forgot my wallet.
I wanted to fight. It was just like, so I'm yelling in a place of business with another grown man. It was like, I need to grow up.
I'm yelling.
So T-shirts I'll wear it. But it has to fit. Do you want to do the Goodwill grab? Shane shops at the Goodwill, so it's not a big deal to him.
Well, what's more of a punishment? Running across the street like he did one time?
Well, he made a lot of money that day. He made $40 cash.
I do a lot of things for $40.
Let's do breakfast.
Breakfast. Okay. Pay for breakfast. That's what it is. I'm writing it down.
I mean,
lock it in. Shane, close the vault. Lock it in.
I've got, so full disclosure, it's easy, especially if you lose. Remember when I ran to get you guys breakfast the other day? So the extra was two things. Something that normal people could eat in a day or a sitting.
Right.
Shane, how long did it take you to finish that breakfast? How many days?
2 days.
That's what we're talking about.
All right. Maybe Shane's punishment is he has to finish it on the day.
My point is, it'll be easy because.
Right. All right, breakfast. You good for breakfast?
This dude can't eat.
I don't even know what we're doing here.
We're picking teams. Dude, I got to tell you.
Doc Sadler?
My sisters never watch football, and they beat me every year because all they do is choose based on colors and mascots.
You know
so
what
you can do that too.
You know what I love about you?
What's that?
You love your family.
I do.
You
Big
talk
family guy.
about them a ton. Like, that's me too.
Yeah.
Shane.
You ready?
You can do it. Yeah, let's go.
Let's lead it off. Let's do a little snake action here, but we're just going to fly through these because there's 25, 30 games on this list.
I can't even believe we're doing this.
We are.
I was so mad at you, and you wouldn't even let me off the hook.
Nope, I'm not letting anybody budge.
What did you tell me? I fought it a couple minutes ago, and you go, I said, I'm not doing that. And you go,
I said, you're doing whatever I'm telling you we're doing.
I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm doing it.
I said, if I start talking about it, we're doing it.
It was your delivery. I felt like you kind of sandbagged me.
Well,
it's like a Jedi mind trick.
We're sarcastic toward each other.
You're like, no, you're doing it. And I was like, oh, he kind of snapped. I guess I'm doing it.
Yeah, we're doing it.
I don't want
All
conflict.
right, I'm going first. UAB.
Wait, what's the goal?
The goal is to just pick right. I think UAB wins the first game.
Do we have to go in order?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll take Troy. Can I do that?
Well, I was thinking we would do like everybody pick the same game and then we go down the list, or are we just alternating games?
No, I'll take UAB.
Okay. Shane?
UAB.
All right. DB, go.
Troy.
Shane?
Troy.
UTSA.
You're losing.
No way. Shane, you pick.
Cincinnati.
Cincy. I'm taking Louisville.
Boy, no coach.
Mm-hmm.
Why
are they on this list?
I like the way you're thinking, Drew Down. I like the way you're thinking. Let me look at the line. I'll take
line -1 in favor of Louisville.
It was -2 a little bit ago.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah, Shane's over here like, I'm totally going to hustle him.
I will take Cincy. That's the no coach game.
Right. All right, Jackson State, NC Central on this list.
And my bowl confidence points, this would be my number 1 play.
In regards to Jackson State?
Yes. Give me Jackson State.
Shane?
NC.
I'm taking Jackson State, too. I'm going BYU next game.
Wait.
I heard him. Well, you want to just keep going, or you want to address it?
No, it's fine. You're taking BYU?
Yep, BYU. Jackson State, 2 touchdown favorites.
I will take – what's the line?
In BYU?
Yeah. It's off the board.
I believe they are +4, BYU, +4, SMU -4.
Hoo-wee. Give me SMU.
SMU.
BYU.
Fresno State, Washington State.
I'm taking Fresno State.
That's what I'm doing.
Yep.
Southern Miss, Rice. Shane?
Southern Miss.
That's what I'm going.
I will take Southern Miss.
Give me Oregon State against Florida.
Going out on a limb?
You think? Aren't they like 10-point favorites?
Yeah, I'll take Oregon State.
Beavers.
Of course.
Of course.
It's Cuttlebug over there.
Oh.
Give me Boise.
I'm taking Boise too.
Sure. I'll take that. Boise State.
We are.
Oh, for sure. Matthew McConaughey all day.
Mm-hmm.
Lincoln Lawyer, by the way.
Shane?
All right, fine, Marshall.
Shane, your pick. Eastern Michigan, San Jose State. This will be great.
Hold on. I got to see what D's getting here.
You have to see what?
Dude, that was my mom. You can't do that.
She's the one helping me.
Just cold-blooded. He said it so casual, too. Hey, hold on. I got to see what D's doing there. And you go, what? And I had to take a double take. I was like.
She says Eastern Michigan.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I'm calling her, too, right after this.
Did I say? I took San Jose State.
Shane, gosh, we have to be different at some point. I got to beat Drew down. Give me Eastern Michigan. I'll take Liquid Shano. It's unfortunate.
I'm going Liberty next game.
Give me, I'm for sure going Toledo.
Team Liberty.
Liberty.
Give you freedom or death, Shane?
No.
Who do you got next game? South Alabama, Western Kentucky.
Oh, the Jaguars. Give me South Alabama.
I'm riding that train too.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Shaner, Air Force or Baylor?
Baylor.
That's what I got. Baylor on my front too.
The line sucks. 5.5? Mm-hmm. God, that's terrible. I'd play Air Force ATS. But outright winner?
Yeah, outright winner. Air Force, 9-3 this year?
Give me Dave Aranda. He's a philosopher.
Mm-hmm.
The Art of War.
Yep. Houston, Louisiana.
Cougar bait. Give me Houston.
Houston.
I'm taking Louisiana.
Good for you.
Raging Cajuns. All right.
It's not about food.
Hey, we're just going to go down the list now because this could take forever.
Okay.
And we're just going to say it at the same time.
Okay.
All right. Mizzou, Wake Forest.
Mizzou.
Sounds good.
Middle Tennessee State, San Diego State.
San Diego State.
Okay.
New Mexico State, Bowling Green.
Bowling Green.
That's what I'm going, man.
Give me New Mexico.
Georgia Southern, Buffalo. Georgia Southern.
Give me Buffalo.
Utah State, Memphis.
Utah State.
Let's
I'll take
go.
Utah State as well.
East Carolina, Coastal Carolina.
Coastal Carolina.
I'm going East.
Wow, no Grayson McCall. Give me woo-wee. Give me East Carolina.
Wisconsin, Oklahoma State. Another game with 2 quarterbacks that won't be there.
Give me Wisconsin.
I'm going Oklahoma.
I went Wisconsin as well. Duke, UCF.
UCF.
Duke.
Dude, Elko.
Not just a basketball school.
Listen, they send something every day, and they put it in writing.
Duke?
In the mail. It's unbelievable.
To
I don't even know
you?
why I just said that. No, Caleb has not. He has an offer.
Yeah. But I meant, like, to you guys every day?
Every day.
That's sweet.
I'm like, what the?
Make an impression.
He's got to take one more AP class, though.
Arkansas, Kansas. Kansas. That's my team.
No way. Arkansas.
It's my team.
Arkansas.
Been saying them all year.
Go ahead. We should have used a caller. That would have been sweet. Give me Oregon.
To make picks for us?
No, yeah.
Well, somebody can call in.
888-638.
4876.
4876, McCook County, Spirit of 76.
Tell me your favorite bowl game. Oregon, North Carolina.
Oregon.
Yep.
Give me Ole Miss. I'm on the lane train, baby.
I will take Ole Miss as well.
Shane, you on the lane train? All aboard.
Yeah, now, not before.
Minnesota, Syracuse.
Wow.
Minnesota.
What's Tony White doing? Give me the – it's not funny because I like him. Give me the Gophers. Made a great impression, by the way.
Tony? Yeah.
Dude.
Florida State, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Florida State.
Wow. Give me FSU.
Washington, Texas. Taking
Texas.
Wow. Give me Washington.
NC State, Maryland.
Maryland.
I can't wait for you guys to buy me breakfast.
Taking Maryland. Only the last person has to buy breakfast for the other two.
Okay.
Yeah, so all you have to do is get second place.
Hey, that's the story of my life. Oh, that would be easy for me.
You're a big silver medalist.
I'm a runner-up kind of guy. Let's go.
Thank God you didn't tell that to Westside this year. NC State, Maryland.
That was last year.
Did I just do
Yes, you guys are – that's fine. I can take it. I am the chocolate filling in the middle of the cream cookies. But you guys are killing me, but that's fine. Let's roll.
I chose Maryland. Did we get to that game?
Yeah.
Okay, UCLA,
Shane,
Pitt.
UCLA.
Give me UCLA.
I took UCLA as well. Notre Dame, South Carolina.
Notre Dame.
I love me some Notre Dame.
Do you want to make another joke here?
No.
Like, what's Satterfield doing?
I got to tell you a funny story about their recruiting yesterday. Give me Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, that's who I took. Wyoming, Ohio. That's what I'm thinking here. It's a pick 'em. I think that's how it's listed. I'll go with Wyoming.
Give me Craig Bowl. He was just in town.
Okay. Fair point.
And Coach Solich is not coaching Ohio. Although I love Tim Albin, give me Craig Bowl.
All right, we have somebody on the phone, so Shane is talking to them right now, so we'll just skip his turn. Tennessee or Clemson?
Wow, the Battle of the Orange Bowl. Give me
Clemson.
Clemson going away.
Clemson. Kentucky, Iowa.
Ooh, I love Iowa in a bowl game. Give me the Hawkeyes, even though I have no idea who they're going to throw the ball to. Who is Iowa going to throw the ball to?
That's a great point. Nobody's there.
That's all right. Give me the Hawkeyes.
Bama, K-State.
Shane, you don't love it, leave it.
Number 1.
God, I certainly take K-State ATS because it's only 3.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just in town, and they said a bunch of good things. So I'm like, but I'm going to take K-State.
I took Bama. I'm not betting against Nick Saban.
Of course you're
not betting
not.
against Bill Belichick.
Of course
Come
not.
on. I think they're going to win, too. You're going to be
Michigan
buying
and
me
Taku,
breakfast.
give me Michigan.
I'll take Michigan.
Give me Georgia.
Take Georgia. I'll take Mississippi State. R.A.P. Mike Leach.
I'll take Illinois.
Tulane, USC.
Oh, boy.
You
That's
know what? Give
tough.
me the green wave.
Going different?
Yeah. Give me the green wave.
I'll take Tulane as well.
LSU, Purdue.
Take
LSU.
LSU.
Utah, Penn State.
God, I love me some Cam Rising.
And then at the bottom, write down your national champion,
Okay.
Georgia.
Stop it. It's Georgia.
Hey, Brian, you're on line 1. We just went through our pick'ems, but what's your game? What do you like?
Brian, was that not scintillating radio? You had to love that, didn't you? He's like, no, actually I didn't. Brian, you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
What's up, buddy?
I see y'all picking games. I was going to say, for all the other games y'all picked so far,
yeah,
I was going to take opposite of whatever Sugar Shane, Sacker and Shane chose.
Hey,
Instead of the game that your mother chose, I know she picked Eastern Michigan for. I see. I thought he was on the right track, and then it got to that Baylor Air Force pick, and I was in the Air Force when I picked the Baylor Bears. Are you out your mind?
B,
are you out your mind? You can't do that, Sacker and Shane.
Yeah, he called him Saccharine, not Sugar. Saccharine.
You're a child. I got to tell you, Brian, we're not any better. We both took Baylor up here.
What's wrong with you people, man? What's wrong with you guys?
I know.
Hey, B, let me ask you something before we let you go. Because you're a Dallas fan, I know you hate the teams in the NFC East. Do you have an axe to grind against San Francisco too? You know what I mean? Like, does that sit with Dallas fans?
Here goes, David.
Oh boy!
All right, 8 years old. 8 years old, and my dad had went and worked out of town. He worked for Northwestern Bell. He went and worked out of town in Oklahoma City to install fiber optics.
Okay.
And I remember, I still hate Joe Montana. I hate Joe Montana. I hate the pass. I hate Dwight Clark. Only thing I like about Joe Montana is when I saw Leonard Marshall flush him out the pocket, Lawrence Taylor cut him off, and Leonard Marshall continued to come down the line and put him on the bench and turn him green. That's how much I despise the 49ers.
So is that the one team out of division? So who's worse, the Niners or the Steelers for Cowboys fans?
Oh, to me, it's the Niners.
Okay.
It's the Niners. When you hear me talk about the Steelers, it's more, I have a respect for them. For the Niners, I just can't stand them at all. I don't care. I'm happy we took Charles Haley from them. I'm happy that we took Deion Sanders. I'm happy that they're still mad about the championships in the 90s. So who cares they won last time they played us in the playoffs? They didn't get no Super Bowl. But what I was going to ask you, being a Carolina fan, I told my son, if Duke ever came to the door, I don't know, the police might have to get called. Because there might be an assault.
Hey,
I can't stand Duke leaving.
I'm gonna need some comfort throughout this whole process because there's lots of things that don't sit well with me personally. But I have
Tai Chi or something.
But I have to support the decision making. Man,
you're right. I was gonna say that too. Hey, you parents, y'all just got done watching my son in 8th grade. It's his second year playing basketball. I know it's about development. I just want to say, all you parents out there with your kids, get out there, support your kids, and see what they want to do. Give them a chance to try every sport they can to see if they like it. And just be out there to cheer them and encourage them when the head gets down. It's fun going through the process with them.
100. Hey, B, I appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Brian.
And he kind of rode Shane on the mom joke, man.
Speaking of, though, so Shane takes Eastern Michigan because your mom texted in and told him because she's a huge Eastern Michigan gal.
She loves that.
But Shane, just so you know.
She loves that Lincoln Southwest Skyhawk green and silver.
Just so you know, as underdogs, the MAC is 11-49 straight up, and that's Eastern Michigan. So you guys are out on a limb, and the limb is fragile.
Hey,
that's a bunch of BS.
Hey, so to land the plane about recruiting and whatever it is about Duke and K-State yesterday. So I was talking to Coach Rule a good chunk of the day. So Coach Foley had texted and said, hey, need to get a hold of my wife. She wanted some students to get out of class. She's a dean there. So whatever, short story long. So he was in Missouri in the morning. Coach Foley winds up at Westside in the daytime. So Caleb's got an open mod, so they're like, hey, we want to talk to him. So he drove back to Westside because he wasn't in school. 45 minutes later, Coach Rule and Coach Satterfield are at Westside. And I text, I said, hey, why didn't you tell me you were coming? He said, we didn't know. We couldn't let Coach Foley get all the cred being in Omaha. We had to show up. They just had landed from Missouri.
Oh, my goodness.
That's the kind of stuff they do.
Great story. Hey, up next, let's play trivia with DB, and then we'll talk a little more whatever.
Clear.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you, Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio. And as you guys already know, DB and I can talk for a long time. And when we're butted up against a break, we're not very good about taking a break all too much. Like we have been, I'd say we're like 85% there.
They're hard breaks.
But as you guys probably heard, DB's story cut off at the end of the 8 o'clock segment because we went over.
Shane, they didn't hear the story?
No, so can we go back and can you retell what you were saying? Because it's really interesting. We were talking about Duke and how they handwrite a letter or whatever, something to you or to Caleb in this case, every single day.
Dude, it's unbelievable.
And the story behind that, so because you expanded on that point.
It's unbelievable.
I see it.
Yeah. It's something. They remind me of so there's a couple schools that do that. Kansas is another that is very aggressive. When Iowa sends something and it's from Coach Ferentz, it always says Ferentz in marker. So those are the things that just interesting subtleties,
right.
Oklahoma's hyping up the jump man thing and this and that, but it hasn't been very personal. But since they haven't offered, we get it, right? It's just so we're just kind of playing through that process. But yesterday, and this isn't like overtime, and I'll say this full disclosure, overtime, I'll talk about some things, and it's not to do anything other than give you context. So it's not like some sort of humble brag or anything, and I mean that because I always say when people say, "Hey, I don't mean to," and then what they say next is doing that. But anyway,
humble brag.
We were talking about some Coach Rule and I were talking about some other things, and I said, so about, I don't know, whatever time it was, I said something about Coach Foley looking for Jay at Westside because they hit it off last week, and she's a dean up there, so sometimes she can get kids and stuff if Coach Lamanji isn't around. And so we were going round and round, and I knew he was in Missouri that morning. And so Coach Foley he's great, right? He shows up at Westside. He had the in-home last night with Tristan, and they wanted to see Jalen Lloyd because they're really trying to put a bow on this class. So Caleb has what they call open mods, where you don't have class, but you can go get help or do something else, or if you get called out, you can leave.
Like a study hall?
So he had come home. He's like, hey, I got to get my other basketball shoes for practice. I'm going to shoot back. So Coach Foley had sent a message. He's like, hey, we're looking for Caleb. So I texted him. I was like, hey, man, get back to school. This is probably 2 o'clock, right? So he hustles back, and so they're talking or whatever. And about an hour later, Coach Rule on Twitter tweets out a picture of Westside. So I'm like, hey, I was joking with him because before when he was in Philly, I was like, hey, send me back a cheesesteak. But at Westside, I was like, I definitely don't need you to send me anything from there.
Right.
Well, I'm familiar with that place. And I go, hey, I said, you should have told me you were coming to the high school. I was right over at the middle school, at Westside Middle. And I swear to goodness, he goes, hey, did know this is what was going to happen. We just got off the plane from Missouri, and we couldn't let Coach Foley get all the Omaha street cred. And I was just like, I did just like what you did. I laughed, but he's dead
right
serious, right? Because
it's an image thing.
He said something a couple of weeks ago at the presser and kind of the side sessions. He wants coaches on staff that will hit 6, 7, 8 schools a day because they enjoy the process. And I'm thinking, he's going to practice what he preaches. He wants to hit 6, 7, 8 schools a day because after he left Westside, he was over at Gretna. And it was
photo after photo.
And that's kind of what he does. So I thought that was pretty cool. And Caleb said that they watched practice or some of basketball practice and toured the weight room and he had a speaking event at Shadow Ridge last night. In between, and I'm not. Listen, like I said, I'd rather be right than well liked.
Right.
So this isn't for hype's sake because I don't know how many games they're going to win. But did the speaking engagement at Shadow Ridge in between in-home visits.
Talk about somebody that is.
You and I don't like doing show prep at 5 a.m. and then 7 p.m. because it's a 24-hour news cycle, and here he is just maximum.
He's a grinder.
Oh.
He's a grinder.
And those are the kinds of guys he's hiring. And I'm telling you, the energy, I think, of the staff it's been refreshing. So now it's not just a couple of guys like Kenny Wilhite or Genta or Mickey Joseph, right? It's all of the staff has to be that way. Now,
yeah, there's not just one person that's like he needs to be in charge.
Yeah,
of
so you
recruiting
just
going
so
forward.
you just don't hear like a couple months ago, oh, Mickey this or
Like
Kenny did
you
that
have to
or
keep Mickey because he's this great
Yeah,
recruiter.
it's like
no, there's 12. There's 12 great recruiters on this staff.
Even like Terrence Knighton and I know people are not concerned. They're curious about the recruiting, right? With he and Coach Rayola, and even the questions that they ask and being present in terms of going after, because they got a monster weekend this weekend with official visits. I'm just telling you, and it's not just because it's me, and I mean that because at some point I'm not going to matter, and that's if you think it does now. Even post-recruiting people that I know, it's making an impression going forward. Like they're just – and I think he fooled – I think he's well aware who his staff's going to be. I think that's going to take, however much more time. But so far he is extremely impressive in terms of working his tail off, which is why, Drew Down, I think it was so important for his family and wife to sneak into town and get a lay of the land to see if it was a place that they feel like they could function at a high level, knowing that her husband works his tail off. Like, that's part of it. Like, jobs were eliminated for that very reason. You know what I mean? And then you couple that with the relationship I think that he has with Trev, and I think it's spectacular.
I'll say one thing, too, DB. At the beginning when you said, by no means are you trying to come across as bragging that you have things like this. Nobody out there thinks like that. For one, it's because they love hearing the story. Like, these are stories that listeners tune in for to get that insight from you. So never think like that.
Well, there's a lot I don't say.
but you know what I mean? Like, never think like that because we're in positions like I'm probably more on the listener's side than I am on yours here when it comes to you have the relationship. Yeah. Like you've done it, you still do it, and by having that, it provides perspective that people don't get all the time.
Yeah, like when I tell you something like he literally contemplated hitting Gretna's football banquet, but kind of worried about maybe didn't want to steal the show.
You're not blowing smoke.
Didn't want to crash the party, but that's how they think, because not only is it a Mason Goldman Corvin Dema thing, it's like I told you the terms that he used, and I think it's important because it gives you a glimpse into his personality. He said, "The Flores situation breaks my heart." He doesn't have to say that he's Matt Rule, right? He's coached in the NFL. He's resurrected programs. Like,
not only does he not have to,
you don't have to say things for effect.
And that's why I was going. He means it.
Yeah,
it's not something that you say it just to say it.
Because one thing I think the media and we'll all learn, he's not going to say anything just to be saying it. As a matter of fact, it's probably going to be just the opposite. Have good questions. Don't sugarcoat things, because he's going to keep it absolutely 100. Because I think it's easy for him to remember what he said if he's being authentic. So he's going to tell you what he feels.
He's a realist.
I think it's.
I also think too when you mention the Flores situation and other bits of recruiting, and even the point to where he showed up at Westside, he is somebody that strikes me as he doesn't want to have any regrets.
Yeah.
And,
great point.
And if he doesn't do it, he's the type of guy that will think about, man, what if? What if I would have done it? And you don't ever want to have what ifs in the world.
Hey, to your point, he's hip enough, or as the kids say, has enough drip, swag, to say things like, "I'm going to shoot my shot."
He'd walk in, if he was single, he'd walk into the bar and eye up the prettiest girl there and take his chance.
He's kind of swaggy.
No regrets.
He's cool.
Hey, coming up next, we have another great guest. It's a national champion. Stay tuned.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Man, I can't believe the time has already come to wrap this thing up for the week. Friday's show has seemed to fly by, and if you missed anything, we'll get to it on Morning Dump in our third hour. You can check that out wherever you get your podcasts. That's Apple or Spotify. And today, we're talking high school with Mike Sauter, so that is something to stick around for. But right now, we're speaking to a national champion, and a national champion that DB had no idea was on our list to speak to today.
Well, I was a little skeptical because he didn't feel well. He's just tweeting out pictures of getting on the bus. I'm like, he doesn't like us enough to come on the following morning, so I didn't take you seriously.
Meanwhile, here he is, head coach of Iowa Western Community College, Scott Strohmeyer. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Hey, guys. I appreciate it.
Congratulations. First off, take me through that moment for you as a coach and just seeing the clock wind down to zero and knowing that we did it.
Well, yeah, I mean, gosh, it was, it's an unbelievable feeling. Like, I think the big thing for me, like I said numerous times, is just seeing the kids' face and the excitement that they had as it's winding down, that they reached the highest level they could, of being a national champion with all the work that they put in. And, it's been 10 years since the last one, so I really enjoyed this one.
Coach, I'm first of all, I'm tickled that we got you this early, and how much I appreciate it given how many things people ask of you. But let me back all the way up, because I was saying this before you guys played a couple of days ago. I think one of my favorite things about you, and there's a lot, is that you're super selfless, right? You're always talking about administration and your staff and fan support and all these other things that aren't about you. When you're coaching at this level where the goal is to get out and to not stay, how important is that to have the kind of success that you've had?
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, we're trying to get all these guys out, and gosh, I apologize here. I got still.
Yeah, I know you didn't feel well.
I didn't feel very good at all. No, I mean, obviously it's important, and I think it is never about myself. It's always about trying to get these kids out to the next level, and I think. Just when you get them out, I mean, obviously that's a credit to myself and our staff for what we do to help these guys move on. But, I mean, if you start thinking and it's just about one individual or trying to prolong or try to jump to a new job or something like that, you're not going to be very successful. You might be short-term, but you're not going to long-term.
The best way to describe it, Coach, was unfinished business for your team. After losing to Hutch earlier on in the season, you come back out and you shut out this team. I mean, did you feel any stress at all throughout this game?
Well, I mean, I'd like to say no, but I did. Just because how explosive they were. I mean, they had a running back. They have a couple wide receivers that if they catch any pass, they can take it the distance. I felt really good with the way we played the first time. We just gave up really a long run, a long pass on a busted coverage and a missed tackle, and then a block punt. Those are really the only three plays that we gave up, and unfortunately we lost the game because of it. So and our defense played so well all year.
Mm-hmm.
Felt that we were going to be able to control them a little bit and get some pressure on the quarterback. And when we scored our first three possessions, obviously I felt really, really good. I just told our offensive coordinator, I'm like, let's not mess this up now. Let's be smart.
Coach, listen, knowing Aaron, Terry, your D-line coach and recruiting coordinator as long as I have, and some of the other guys on your staff, he had a tweet pregame that was a little – I was like, wow, AT usually plays it pretty close to the vest. But his tweet was subtle, wasn't trash talking or anything. He said, hey, expecting to do big things tonight, are going to put on a show. And I was like – and I told our listeners before the game started, I said, with his character and how close to the vet he's, his personality, that let me know that it was either the familiarity of the opponent, you felt good about your team, the game plan. He felt good in that something special could happen because it's just never like that.
Yeah, no, he's not. But I'll tell you what, if I was coaching his position, I'd be shooting out some things like that too because
he's got some dogs.
There's not one team that ran the ball on us all year, and we lead the country in sacks, and he does an unbelievable job. I mean, we'll have 9 guys that'll play FCS or FBS ball off that group, and so I mean that's where it all starts. And I felt our defensive staff does such a great job of breaking an offense down and tendencies. And I mean, we had one where one of their linemen, when he was in 2-point stance, it's pass, with 3-point stance, it's run, and so we were checking. If we were in more of a passing front and he had his hand in the dirt, we checked it to a run front, so they did such a good job of preparing it to where their quarterback was saying, Coach, they know every one of our plays. Yeah. They're calling out stuff.
That's awesome, Coach. Let me ask you something kind of along those lines. A lot has been made, and there's some really good football played locally, right? Northwest Missouri State, great program. They kind of play that odd front in a 3, and you guys play great defense. You play in a more of a 4 front. And I was talking to Coach Terry about it yesterday or a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago about the different fronts. For you, when you watch your team play, you always play good defense, and you're pretty good against the run, right? You never had a losing record, so you understand a thing or two about getting stops. how does the front marry with your philosophy versus, man, it kind of depends on what kind of guys we have. Like, how do you arrive at how you want to play defense?
Yeah, well, a lot of people get into that 3-down front because the interior D linemen are so hard to get. Mm-hmm. And we haven't had that problem. And like I said, the coach does a really good job of developing guys once they get here and putting them on weight and putting weight on. And so, like for me, being an offensive guy, Coach Blackburn's always been a 4-down. There's times I've tried to tinker to get into something different, but we play sound defense, number one. Fundamentally, we're sound, and teams are going to have to, with quarters coverage, and we got some variations out of it, but we're going to make you drive the field. And I think the only time we've given up a few big plays, but there has not, but maybe one drive this year against Garden City, the opening drive where they took the kickoff and drove it down the field. Now, we aided it with 2 personal foul and a pass interference, but nobody drove the length of the field and scored on us.
Nice Rolodex, Coach. Jiminy Christmas. Oh, that is awesome. So tell me about listen, you've coached with your brother before. Tony's in a role now. It's about confidence and familiarity when you're letting some other people drive. With Coach TK and you're looking at an O-line, OC kind of guy, how has that managed to fit your personality as this team's kind of grown when knowing you're a good offensive mind? Yeah,
well, Tony's done a really good job. I think so. I've had a lot of very good coaches. Tony's probably, from an offensive pass game standpoint, understands it. He fits it from he don't care. He likes 5-man protection. Whereas sometimes some O-line coaches would rather have 6-man to take care of it. And so we mixed pretty good there. Because obviously I like to throw the football. We didn't throw it much this year, but I like to throw it. And so this is his 3rd year with me, and I think he's really starting to get comfortable. He kind of seeing how I kind of want things, and he brought in some really good ideas and changed a lot of the things that I felt we needed to change that we've just been doing. The system that I had for 11 years, we had to expand a little bit in some areas, and he brought in a different approach and some very good concepts, and I think it's kind of married well. And I've never, as for O-line coach, offensive coordinator, like I said, he sees it not just, hey, we're just going to run power, we're going to run power. We're going to do what we got to do to win the game.
Coach, quickly here, just 30 seconds. I want to ask one last thing. You talked about development and about 9 guys that are able to go play at the next level, most likely next year. Is that why you do it? Is that why you coach?
Absolutely. I think, to see, I'm telling you, before our game and after our game, I didn't feel very good after the game, so I just went home or went to the hotel and I just took a shower and went to bed. It took me 2 hours to get through all my text messages from when we got on the bus, and majority of those are former players. And I think that's what it's about. They had a good experience. You made an impact on their life, and now they're going to do their things. But it makes you feel good as a coach that they appreciate what you've done for them.
Coach, we appreciate you. Thanks so much for taking the time, and we hope you feel better, too.
Hey, congratulations, Coach. And I think the world of you. Appreciate you joining us when you didn't have to.
I appreciate it, Damon. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Great national champion. And you could have had tickets, but because if you needed tickets, you should have gone to.
We talked bowl games, too.
Yeah, we did. Bowl games, tickets for those. Red Zone Tickets has got you covered. Selling fun since 2001. Morgan Wallen, you probably used them for your NCAA Final Four. You should have. Omaha, Creighton, Husker basketball, NFL. Red Zone Tickets has got you covered. Great location right here in Omaha. It's reliable and local. That is a thing for me. Got an A+ Better Business rating. That means they're credible. I love that, too, like this show. Visit RedZoneTickets.com today. That's RedZoneTickets.com.
Man, we didn't even get to volleyball. Danny Busby, Kelly, how about that group
Superstar.
last night? Thanks for joining us. We got the dump. That's next. We'll be back next week.